Hey, hey, hey. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you at. Everybody. This Pastor E. I'm on the mic tonight. Do a little chat. Uh, should have some individuals join us here shortly. Um, we're going to be talking tonight about, do we protect or do we conform? And I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight because I think there's a lot of things, a lot of issues that go on with our children, our people in general. I want to talk about, protecting a child tonight. Do we allow them to, I guess, adapt or conform to, what the society is, and when it comes down to stereotypes, or do we protect them from that? One of the things, I had a good conversation with one of my friends about this, because and I know we live in a weird generation right now, a weird time. A lot of stuff right now is really weird. But we were talking about, if you had a black son, would you protect him from wanting to look a certain way, or do you allow him to conform and allow him to, be what his culture is, or allow that? Because to be honest, with our young black men, there is a certain look that everyone has now, and then that look is picked on or picked upon, becomes a stereotype. To where, if a boy, we'll just talk about, I'll just give an example. If a young boy has dreads, or twisties in his hair, or whatever you want to call them, a lot of times, society looks at that child as if, he is a thug. And he could be, an A student. He could be, one of the top people in the school, one of the top students in the school. So do we, or should we allow, that child to look how we want to, or be how you want, or do you protect them from the stereotype? And what I mean by that is, a lot of times people of color, um, if they have their hair a certain type of way, the police look at them a certain type of way. People look at them a certain type of way. They're labeled based upon what they look like. And, it's 100% unfair to the child that they can't look a certain type of way. They can't um, grab hold to their culture or different styles of culture, because it'll look a certain type of way. So, my question is, should we protect them from that image, or should we allow them to conform to it and allow them to, figure it out? For me, I'm the type of person to where I'm going to protect my kids. I have a son, and I want to protect him. So I do teach him, society. I do teach him how the system works. I do teach him how, police officers view, well, not to say all police officers, but some police officers that have that stereotypical mentality, how they view certain black males a certain type of way. And, I remember when I was in high school, I had long hair in high school, and I was one of the top individuals in my class, and I was in a program called FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America, and because my hair was long and I had to go job shadow a CEO of a huge company, and you guys may know the company. It's in Pooler, Georgia. It's an aerospace company, but anyway, I had long hair on my head. So when I was going, and they was gonna give me a scholarship for college, but I was going to be denied scholarship because I had hair on my head, because my hair was longer than the average black male, because I had braids, and so I was treated a lot different because I had long hair as a male, and so I teach my son the same concept, and it's not fair that society says that a black man has to look a certain type of way in order to be successful in corporate America. That's why it's always good to get your own business, but then you also have that police brutality, and a lot of times if someone, and I've seen several videos, I've heard several cases where someone steals from the store, and the first person that the police officers, pull up to is the black guy with the dreads, the black guy with the hair on his head. He's looked at like, okay, this is the guy. They don't even have to have, a hair description, but they say, yeah, black male, whatever, XYZ, stole from the store. So, police officer come, and the first, it could be 10 black men there, but they'll identify the one that has the twisties or the dreadlocks or the braids in the top, because, in their mind, this is the thug. This is the one that's going to do this. So, do we protect our kids from looking like this, or do we allow them to experience? Because you say, well, that's the culture. We black, black people wear dreadlocks. Black people, wear big clothes. Well, wear big clothes no more. But what we did, right now everybody be wearing leggings. The men be wearing leggings nowadays. But the culture was for black males. They would wear baggy clothes and all that stuff like that. So do we train our children to look to par, or look the part, or do you train them to just be who you are, and whatever you get is what you get? And I had a conversation with someone about this, and I was telling them like, hey, my son, I'm going to protect him. I'm going to let him know that, if you do have this, the chances of you being picked on by, law enforcement, because I've been through it, so the chances of you being picked on by law enforcement, the chances of you being harassed by, people because you have dreadlocks or twisties or whatever is going to be very high, right? It's going to be, higher than the normal person. And again, it's not fair, you know what I mean? And I was talking to someone, and they were saying, well, it don't really matter. They target all black people. They do, and that's true. However, that look could portray something to them. Not saying that, my son is a thug or anybody else's son is a thug. I think a thug is, a person that behaves in a certain way, not look a certain type of way. But, society deals with, apparel. Society deals with the exterior. They really don't know what a person is like. People have been denied jobs because they have dreads in their hair. You try to go get you a professional job, it's like, no, you can't work here, XYZ, but in the back of their mind is because, they don't look like whatever. And again, it's not a fair concept, but what do we do? Do we, are we supposed to, talk to our children? Do we protect them from that? Do we not allow them to look a certain type of way so they won't be, picked on by officials? They won't, you go, a person get a traffic, get pulled over, and because they look a certain type of way, they want to search the vehicle. I've been there before, So, in my mind, I believe that it's okay to, train your child or say, hey, it's not a good idea to, do this because people may portray this about you and you may get picked on, right? And the individual that I was talking to said, "No, that's not right, man. You should let them do that." Blah 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 blah. And I said, "Okay, well, would you let your son wear, fingernail polish?" He was like, "Oh no, I ain't let my son do, because that's gonna." I said, "Well, wait a minute. Now, if your son isn't, if he don't do that, I mean, if he don't roll that way, if he ain't on the other side of the fence, if he's not, homosexual or nothing like that, what's wrong with him wearing fingernail polish? And then it clicked on his mind like, oh, okay, you're trying to protect him from something, right? So it's the same, it's the same concept. I'd like to know, what your thoughts are, you all that are viewing tonight. What do you think? Do you think it's wise to, train your child? Do you think it's wise to make sure that they understand how society is? Let them know, how the minority is already looked at a certain type of way. And if you don't have your own, business, it'll be hard to get a job looking a certain type of way. All those different things like that. And again, man, it's not the fairest thing, for everybody. But I think that it's wise to, teach your children, because a lot of times we don't, elaborate, we don't elucidate enough to our children so they can have a complete understanding of why, and I think that, a lot of us need to be educated on it. And it should not just be, one parent that's, educated on issues like this, and both parents should both have the same, thought in mind in reference to the child. And again, I say this on every broadcast if I can. Please, if you have a child, please make sure you and that other parent are on the same page with life. Make sure, because you'll be raising a child, because my kid's mom is she don't think the same way as me. She don't her thought process isn't the same. She thinks that he should be able to do whatever he wants. He should be able to live how he wants as a young teenager. And my theory is we need to protect our son. Her theory is let him do whatever he want to do. And so that's why I encourage everybody. Please make sure that you are on the same page. And this, one of our viewers said it's a touchy topic because of course it's very true, 100% true. But it's not fair. Hear me, it's not fair at all. So I mean, I'm trying to, I understand how, it's looked at because it's not fair. But do we protect? Do we try to, aid them in understanding, that, some stuff, if you, look a certain type of way, in certain conditions. Now, I'm not saying that, you gotta look like, Billy and Bobby G and all that stuff. Kai, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Pastor Porter?
Uh-oh. Make sure my stuff good. I don't know if it's yours or mine because I can't hear
It
nothing.
might
Let me
be
see.
me. Can you
All
hear
right,
me?
Mike's in the mode. Good. Video effective. All right, looks like I'm straight on my end. I can't hear you though.
You still can't hear me?
Oh, I hear you now. I hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, awesome. All right, so what do you think? Thank you for joining me tonight. What do you think about this? I see a comment there. You can reiterate, but what do you think? Do you think that we should protect our children? I know you don't have children, but if you had a child, would you protect them from the system? Would you protect them from stereotypes, or would you just allow them to live and find out and say, hey, listen, it's the black culture. Black culture says that this is how we are, this is how we dress, and this is who we are. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts?
I for me, I think that if I did have a child, it's important to teach them the do's and do nots of this world. It's unfortunate that we have to go through things like that, but I wouldn't tell my son, okay, the police do something wrong, go back and forth with him. No, do what you got to do to get up out of that
Yep.
situation. Make sure you do what they say do, and whatever else we have to do, we can fight it out in court.
Right.
But it's not okay to go back and forth with them. Just certain things I would teach them not to do. I wouldn't want them to do what everybody else does, because everybody else way, as we can see, it just don't go right. So I
Right.
think as a parent, it's very important to teach your children the do's and do nots of this world.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me ask you this specifically because I have recently encountered this issue, and with a child, and I'll be as vague as possible, but the child came to his father's house with like basically twisties or dreads in his head, and his father told him to take it out, and he told him why, and told him why, because obviously the police officers target black males that look like that. They kind of associate every black male that look like that with criminal activity. And you want to kind of protect your image from that because you don't want to be picked on, because you go to the store with your friends and somebody steals something, and the police officers is called. They don't know exactly who stole it, but because you have twisties in your head or dreads in your head, it's unfortunate, but they'll probably target you because of what you look like. So how do you feel about that? Would you protect your child in that manner as well?
I believe I most definitely would. I would talk to them and definitely explain to them, what's going on there. If they choose to, if that's what they still want to do, they want to wear those twists, they want to do those things, I believe, especially at a certain age, then that's them. But I do think it's important, like I said, to talk to them, to let them know, to try to explain to them and instill that wisdom in them. Because most times when you're running around with the wrong
God, I think we lost you there. Are you still there? Okay, we lost her. She'll probably jump back on in a second. But I think what she was saying is that if you're running with the wrong crowd, and sometimes it's a thing called guilty by association and all that crazy stuff like that. But needless to say, it's very unfair that our culture, our people, we can't be us in America. We can't. It's I mean that's a given. We already know that. We know that we cannot be us in America. But do you teach your children that this is America and this is how we have to you know gather ourselves. This is how we have to live because we don't want any problems, or do we stand up and be like, hey, we gonna do whatever we want. We're a race just like everybody else, or not race, but we're a generation or genre of people just like every and anybody else. So it's not like I gotta conform, or I gotta be this, I gotta be that. Look, I'm gonna be whatever I want to be. But I would I suggest that for our people, man, we got to protect them, especially at a young age, because we don't really teach our kids. We allow, everything to kind of go with whatever the wave of the culture is going. But a lot of times, the wave of the culture for us, if it was just us here, that's fine. But man, and then to be honest, a lot of us be kind of, looking at other us's like, hey man, why you got, what I'm saying? Oh, let me hold my pocketbook, or let me, because that mindset, that stereotype, if you look this certain type of way, you're going to behave this certain type of way. So I mean, I think that it's wisdom to teach, and again, I'll say this until this broadcast is over. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's fair, but what I am saying is that, if there is a stereotype, if there is a certain type of people that are looking at our people a certain type of way, and they can't get a job, or they can't get, a professional job without looking this certain type of way, or they can't get in their career field without looking a certain type of way, or you do get in your career field, but you can't get, loans, or you can't get, certain bank accounts, or you can't get certain clients because of how you look, you know what I mean? And that's why it's very important that, we all come together and support each other, because if not, this will always be an issue. This will always be a problem. We will always run into an issue like this. And that issue is, um, we can't, I'm sorry. So I think God said my phone went out on bad. So it was what I do believe it's important to give them information. I don't want them doing what everyone else does. I want to be able to know that I taught my son to do it the right way. They will make it back to me when it's all said and done. It's not fair that we have to go through certain things as a culture, but I'm teaching my babies the right way. Absolutely, I agree 100%. Another one of our viewers said, regardless of the texture of your hair, in business it should look professional, but sadly, black people are forced to look a certain type of way in general to avoid conflict. Our culture says we should be expressive and creative, while safety says we should conform. Very true, very true. And again, it's terrible. It's not the best. It sucks that we have to, look a certain type of way in order to get a job. We have to, have our hair a certain type of way. We can't be authentic, and if we are authentic, we get a lot of pushback. But I think that it's important that we know that. And I think until our people come together and we start building like we should, rebuild the Black Wall Street, whatever we have to do to be able to be comfortable in our skin, then we do that. But until then, if we go on these different jobs and they keep denying us, they won't give us this or they won't give us that. I tell you something. I have a friend, and this has also happened to me. But I have a friend or associate that selling cars and buying cars and flipping cars and all stuff like that. And someone was selling a car, and they sent a message, say, "Hey, I want to buy the car." It was a Facebook market thing, and because they saw that he was, a black male with twists and braids in his head, they just kind of ignored him. And then he had his white friend, white buddy, contact the same person, and they responded immediately. So he had to get the white guy to go with him to get the car because he had a certain type of hairstyle. And that's not fair at all. It's not, but I think it's wisdom to teach our kids, hey, listen, this is how the world goes for now. This is, it's terrible, but this is how they view people that look a certain type of way. This is how, they behave when it comes down to people of color that looks this certain type of way. It's not fair by all means. It's not fair. But, I think that it's wise for us to be able to teach our people the ways of the world, teach them the ideas of, people that look upon us like we're wrong because we're, we're in our culture. We have the, the braids and all of that stuff like that. We dress a certain type of way. We'll wear some sneakers, what I mean, some jeans and a t-shirt, whatever. And, they're looking for somebody to have, the whole full suit on, all of that stuff like that, I think it's important though, when you're going to get a professional job, I think that it's important to ensure that you look, like you're going to get a job. I agree with that. I'm not saying that, because culture should teach you professionalism as well. I think that, as a business owner, and I've owned several restaurants, and I've worked for several restaurants as a general manager, and so I did a lot of the hiring process. And a lot of our people, when they did come in for interviews, so one guy, he came in, with, whatever on, like he just got out of bed. So I took him outside. I said, "Hey man, what you come up here for?" He was like, "I came to get a job." I said, "Look, man, go back home. Wash your face, take a shower. Wear a decent shirt. Pull your pants up. Come in here like you're looking for a job. Look the part. And he was like, "You know what, man? Nobody ever told me this. You know what I mean?" And I think that the lack of education when it comes down to, protecting our kids, I think we fail at educating them. I think it's very important to educate them and let them know this is how you should look when you go to get a job. This is how you should look when you go turn in applications. And I know turning in application is old school because I've been in the field, you know, 20 plus years. So, people used to come in and hand in the application. They ain't really, so now everything's online. But, when you're doing your interview, your application, all those different things like that, you want to make sure that, you're professional. You want to look professional and teach what professionalism look like. And if you don't know, look it up or ask somebody, hey, what's professionalism? What does that look like? How should I dress for a job? How should I do this? How should I do that? So, again, I believe that, when it comes down to the generation and generations to come, I think that it's very vital that we, teach and articulate very strong, to our kids and protect them from the system, protect them from getting hurt, protect them from, the theory and the thought process, and, all of that stuff like that. Make sure that, they have a good understanding, because it's very imperative, that they do, get a clear understanding of how and what, when, where, and why. And again, and I will not stop saying this. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair. I know everybody saying that in their mind. It's not fair. You're right. It's not fair. But, until we as a people, come together and do what we need to do, so that we could, embrace our culture, I think it's wise to protect our kids from the system. So I think that's, what we should do. And I want to hear from you guys. What do you all think? We did get some, see, and there's something to talk about. Yeah. What is there anybody else that want to say anything tonight, about this subject? The floor is open. You know, the floor is open for you, to say anything. Or what's your thoughts? Again, we're talking about, should we protect our people? Should we protect our children, from the system? Should we, let them know how the system works? Should we let them know how, officers look at people based upon, what they look like, and even though they can be 100% wrong, I think it's still good that we let them know. Let them know. Teach your children. So, but yeah, that's all I had tonight. I just wanted to talk about that because, we had some real life situations, in regards to that, and I think that is good, that we, hold the fork down and make sure that we're great stewards and great teachers to our children to make sure that they're successful. So you guys have a great night. I appreciate everybody for getting on. All right, this is Pastor E, and follow me. In fact, share this video. I think it's good that people hear hear this so that they could protect, and also follow me on YouTube. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.